just got a text from my assistant. She's got some stuff that we're going to be putting in place as we expand all this. Anyway, good to see everybody. Welcome to our Success Mastermind for Thursday, the 26th of May, 2022. I'm John Lavenia, and I'm happy to be here with all of you. And housekeeping first, we have today, of course, our general session. We are shifting to special events in terms of the life and business tools, which normally would have been scheduled for every other Thursday. We're going to have more like special event kind of stuff in lieu of that. So you're going to find that that is not on the calendar for today. Of course, we do have tomorrow our general session, as well as the Be Heard event, which has become a favorite of some of you peoples, where we get to talk about whatever you want to talk about. I like hearing you. I like understanding you. I like understanding how life works, which is pretty much the topic we talk about here every day, right? Is different aspects of how do we get our life working, or if it is working, and hopefully it is, and it certainly is in certain areas, right? Why? What works? What doesn't work? So today I wanted to talk with you about prosperity, but not just prosperity as a concept or as something you achieve, like out there somewhere, but as a way of life. Prosperity as a way of life. Now, I've been through probably more than my share of course material and books and lectures and seminars that talked about how to become successful. I've even been through whole programs about prosperity consciousness and the state of mind of highly successful people. And excuse me, to whatever degree I've demonstrated prosperity in my own life, the way most people would think of prosperity, right? To that degree, I could see where I've applied certain principles. But, and I think this is something that I think you could all find very useful. Having come out of, let's say, not a prosperous environment, not prosperity consciousness, not an abundance mindset, having been born into or indoctrinated into an environment in which scarcity and lack and limitation are not only validated, but in some ways even celebrated, right? There's a saying that misery loves company. So victims like to get agreement about how much of a victim they are. So when people are in a state of agreement about, we lack. Now, yeah, it would be good and nice, hopefully down the road somewhere, not present time, but if prosperity happens to me, well, then our lives would be different. I would call that living a lie. I'm going to be a little bit bold today because I just, excuse me, still getting over a little bit of something here, but living a lie. Even if the person is, so let's say for myself, here I was new on the path of becoming successful in business and, fitness and whatever areas of life that you can see yourself as prosperous or more prosperous than you currently are. And intellectually digesting or taking in, these ideas about, life is abundant and there's limitless supply and all the stuff that Neville and Waddles and Hill and Nightingale and the sages of the ages, right? Jesus and it's the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. I mean, all of this sounds great intellectually, but approaching it as the person who still lacks and just intellectualizing about it, or let's say affirming, right? Which a lot of people have kind of gone in all different directions with, the idea of affirmations, which in some cases to people feel like a lie, like I'm just lying to myself. And sure, if you're, I'm a millionaire, and you're currently not a millionaire, you're just lying to yourself. Where's the bridge that we have to cross to take this from the realm of, theory or, intellectual understanding, right? You certainly have an understanding that, these ideas that were presented to you could be, well, they seem to be true in that person's life. Hopefully, if you're getting information from good sources. Hey, Destiny, welcome. Glad you're here. One of our newest members. So sure, we can look and say that was, that seems like it could bear fruit in my life. But don't you know, see, I've got these problems. You see, I'm different. You see, my case, I don't know, none of you have ever said this, right? I'm special, you see. I've tried the self-help stuff. And I even, damn it, I turned off the TV set and I read 11 pages of that self-help book. I mean, we'll talk about a Herculean effort, but I still don't feel prosperous. So there's the bridge we got to cross. So we've got, and I've talked with you about this before, the idea of our attitude. And I like to define words because I like to know what the hell I'm talking about. I certainly have had people tell me, John, you need to have a better attitude. Anybody ever hear that growing up? Yeah, right. So what is the attitude? What is that? What is that? Well, here's the best explanation of attitude that I've ever heard, which is the culmination of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Thoughts, feelings, and actions. It's the culmination of those things. Okay. So try this on for yourself. Back to our example of the person living a lie. So if their thoughts oscillate back and forth between prosperity and lack, so there's like a toggle or an oscillator that's going back and forth. So we can't say that we've completely got integrity to these ideas. Integrity, wholeness, undivided, undiminished. No, we're quite diminished. So here's one piece of our attitude, which we could say has a chink in its armor. On the action side, well, Ralph Emerson said, of what use to make heroic vows of amendment if the same old lawbreaker is to keep them? Affirm all you want, whatever, right? By your fruits, we know them, right? So what are you demonstrating in your life in terms of the action that you're now taking? And I would say new action or more resourceful action or more, more definite, with vim and vigor, right? I mean, if you know that prosperity is real for you, do you act different? I mean, just think of it like this. If you had just won the lottery or something, would you have a bit more swag in your step, right? Whatever that means, but you get the idea, a bit more, upright, confident, that sort of thing. Okay. So are you, in your deed, are you showing up as that? In your actions, are you showing up as that? And some people may say, well, is this just acting the part? Well, yeah, I mean, what does it feel like? Or let me ask you this. How do you behave? How do you dress? How do you shake someone's hand? How do you look in the mirror? Down to the little actions. When you're the person who accomplishes your goals and demonstrates prosperity in all areas of life, how does that show up? Well, start showing up as that now. We've talked about the be, do, and have principle, right? Which is you got to be it before you do it and before you have it. Well, if you're becoming that person, well, then behave as that person behaves. As Cary Grant said, I just acted like Cary Grant for so long, I became him. So do we have integrity in our action? So we have thoughts, actions, and in the middle we have feelings. Here's the bridge we're looking across. Because as I think these thoughts, excuse me, as I think these thoughts, which are coming in as instruction from the books that I read or the lectures that I heard, or that I'm inducing in myself just by thinking on these ideas of these are certainly possibilities. These are things that, I mean, my goodness, other people have accomplished this stuff. I mean, I can too. Am I that low that I can't? Of course, I'm quite able. And in fact, I've proven to myself how able I am, because every time I've had to, I did. Every time I had to, I did. So when the necessity level was high and there was no escape hatch, well, we got it done, didn't we? And all of us have. All of us have. You've survived all kinds of stuff. How able you are, right? So to diminish ourselves or to have a low sense of esteem about ourselves is folly. So if we can use that, right? And I like to build the case, right? I'm building the case now for the reality of prosperity, not just the, oh, won't it be nice at some point, but the reality of it is, I've already intellectually confronted at least, the thoughts that produce increase in life. I know the difference. I can see the contrast between, acting like a victim or behaving as a victor. So then the bridge has to be the emotional state. If we're talking about, Johnny get a better attitude, well, then that's got to be part of it, right? So then let me ask you this: what makes you feel prosperous, able, competent, confident, enthusiastic about yourself and about where you're going? I'm going to give you a couple of tricks, a couple of things you could do to induce some higher emotional, stuff and not live a lie, right? One thing you could do, and we've talked about this before, and it's so simple, but it's so powerful, is find ways to put the imagery in front of you that suggests or reminds you of where you're going and what you're accomplishing. You've all heard of the dream board or the wheel of fortune or I don't care what the titles are. There are no rules for this, by the way. I did this with my wife with a car that we wanted, that she wanted. And turns out it's a very nice car. Excuse me. So I went to the website and I got the pictures off the website of the car. Interior, exterior, of course, on the website, right? Beautiful photography, professional, photos. How convenient, right? You can also do this with magazines. You can do this with any, raw material, just searching the web and whatever. But in this case, the car was very easy to find. There it is. They obviously want to sell cars. And so I got the pictures and I made a collage out of the pictures of this car. And at the time, she wasn't sure which color and what kind of interior with the leather and whatever. Anyway, the pictures that were available on the site are the ones that I thought she would like. Put them on the wall. And I said, brand new car. In this case, it was and is Chrysler Pacifica Limited, paid for by the company, one of the companies we work with, who actually hands out money for car bonuses when you hit a certain amount of production. And I put the pictures with those words on the wall above her desk. It was probably 60 days. 60 days. We had earned the car. We went to dealerships, and this was towards the beginning of the COVID thing. And so dealerships were a little bit different then. And, you can only wait over here and you got to get the guy. Anyway, we went to one dealership. They had a couple of them. We couldn't even look at them because everybody was busy. We showed up at this other dealership all the way across town. This was in Phoenix. And we saw exactly the car that was in the pictures. And it was available. And it had every option. It had everything she wanted. It even had a color of leather, which we weren't sure about. But we looked at it and she's like, yeah, that's the color. We got the car and we didn't even have to pay for it. And then we came back and we looked at the pictures. Holy crap, that's actually the leather, the color of the leather that's in the pictures. Okay. So now I know this was a big investment of time, energy, and attention for me to go on the friggin' Chrysler website and download a couple of pictures, throw them on a little collage, just desktop publishing, print out the page, a little 8.5 by 11, shove it on the wall with a piece of Scotch tape. As easy as it is to do this stuff, it's even easier to just not do it, right? Okay. What else? What about relationships? Okay. Are you experiencing prosperity for real in relationships? What if you are intending a better relationship with a spouse or children or whatever? Could you seek imagery to give you those those thoughts which render certain emotional states and reminders and all that, to be more consistently on that oscillator, right? To be more consistently on the positive side than you are on the negative side, right? Even like a picture of a couple holding hands on the beach or something. I mean, it's all valid. The only rules are that it has to mean something to you. That's it. It's the only rules. So, and since we think in pictures and those can induce emotions, just like when you go to a movie, right? Subconsciously, I mean, consciously, these are actors. Why am I crying? I mean, I know this is a story. It's nothing, right? Well, the message still, the imagery, right? Still got in, still induced an emotional state. It still worked. So rather than lying to ourselves about, some concocted, affirmation that somebody else told you should say to yourself, how about we just introduce those images, which automatically produce certain emotions? What about health? Well, my goodness, right? Go ahead and grab one of those fitness magazines, right? Cut the head off the guy, put your head on it. Oh my goodness. Look at that body. Holy cannoli, right? Yeah, I'll take that. All right. No rules. You get to appropriate all of this stuff. So in fact, just with the word that I heard just come out of my mouth, there is really no lack, but a lack of appropriation. So if we're talking about prosperity as a way of life, we're talking about giving ourselves permission to appropriate that which is good and rightfully ours. That's it. A stop comes in a lot of times when people think, well, if I get more, you get less. Bullshit. No. I mean, that's a great narrative, keeps people under control, helps people hate each other, victim society, all that. No. We're about creation, not about competition. If Adrian came to me tomorrow and said, I just got a Rolls Royce, I would say, man, that's friggin' awesome. Wow. Give me the tour. Put the camera on. I want to see this thing. I would celebrate that with Adrian. Now, other people might look at that and say, oh, well, how ostentatious. I mean, Adrian, what else could you have done with that money? You could have, helped the poor or something. Adrian could still help the poor, right? I mean, the best way to help the poor is to not be one of them. In fact, the best thing to do is to go get rich, as Wallace Waddle said. And then, there's an example for other people to like get inspired, do something, right? So, and look, I'm convinced, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but I'm convinced that many people, especially in modern times, well, I don't think it's just a modern thing. It's an always thing. Many people are in love, or we could say in resonance, in harmonious vibration with whatever their situation is, to the point where they keep persisting in it. Waddle said you can never you'll never help the poor by addressing poverty, right? What we validate, we get more of that, right? So keep talking about poverty, keep talking about it, well, you get more of that. What must we do? Right? We can go ahead and inspire others by our example. Go focus on the solution, not the problem. And so while for one person, and I'm not interested in Rolls Royce, I whatever, right? It's cool, it's nice. I remember when my wife bought a Bentley. We were at the Rolls Bentley dealer in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I was looking at the Rolls. It was interesting, but the salesman said, a Bentley is a car that you drive. A Rolls is a car that you get driven in. So I guess right there, that kind of, I kind of like driving. So, not a Rolls guy per se. Who knows? Maybe in the future. At this point, I think if you're hearing that and you're thinking, well, yeah, there's so much better things that you could do with your money. Yeah, okay. In your case, and whatever's valuable to you. I don't care about Rolls Royce. Don't care. Okay. What is it for you? What is it for you? And understand that you don't have to just pigeonhole yourself into just tiny little vision. I just gave you 3 examples of things. Like one would be like a physical prosperity thing, cars, whatever, relationships, fitness, right? What about spiritual prosperity? Is there such a thing? Oh yeah. So prosperity by definition means doing well. Okay. So this is a way of life. So how do you demonstrate that in your attitude, in your thoughts, feelings, and actions? And are there images that could also help do that? And some people, it's the sunset, and or maybe it is here's the mission where you're helping with the wells, the clean water in Africa or something. So is that not spiritual? If you're with this idea that we're triune beings, mind, body, and spirit, well, then what isn't spiritual? You can't show up and not do something because you're a spirit, right? So, there's no point of life that isn't affected by you as a spirit. So what does that conjure up for you? What images would you like to accompany you on this? The point is to stop lying to yourself if that's what you've been doing. And I think we all, to whatever degree, right? We all can own some of that, right? Yeah, I'm in the flow over here, but man, this is a struggle. Okay. Well, what would it look like if it wasn't a struggle? And then keep putting that in front of mind. What does it look like when it's not a struggle? What does life look like when success is easy? See if you can answer that question. I got that. Where did I get that? That was from a guy who I was just at a convention with. Really successful guy. Let me go pull up the exact thing that he said. He said, define winning. What does my life look like when I'm successful? What is it like when everything goes right? I was like, oh boy, what is it like when everything goes right? You see, it's easy for us to, I think, to to see, oh, well, that could go wrong, and that's wrong, and that wrong. Any half an idiot can be critical. Yeah. You don't need any education for that. What is it like when everything goes right? Can you describe that? We're talking about inducing an idea here. And then if you write that down, your description of, first define winning. What does my life look like when I'm successful? And then what is it like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? Whatever, when everything goes right. I think we'll come up with some different affirmations. In the area of, I'm just reminded of one in the area of fitness. So I heard somebody say, I'm so happy and grateful that my body metabolizes everything I feed it. Well, that's interesting. I don't know if that works for you, but interesting. Well, who came up with that? Right? Somebody who sat and thought about it. Right? What's the mechanism here? What is it that I actually am intending? And then we're no longer looking. So here's the thing: when we become congruent with this, we have integrity, when we're not diminished, right? And we're solid in our position about all this. We're no longer living a lie. It's prosperity is a way of life. It's not some hopeful thing out in the future. It's a way of life. When I this is another example, I suppose. When I get dressed, right, I typically do so in a way that I feel, I look respectable, right? I know some people have talked about how you can dress for success before you, even if you work from home or whatever, right? Some people have even said, put on your shoes. That means you're ready for action. I tend to do that, but other people, maybe it's different for you if you like working in your pajamas. But I mean, I look good. I feel good. I think I look good. How do you guys think I look? 52 now, so hey, there's that. Yeah. Do need a shave today. Anyway, is there something you can do to celebrate yourself and to make this real? Make this real for you. It's a way of life. I've been talking 27 minutes. How did that happen? It's all your fault, Lindsay. All right, let's open it up. What do you guys think about prosperity as a way of life? Missy, so good to see you, Missy, my friend Missy.
John, I'm burning from this conversation. I'm like Spock in the Pon farr, which I know you don't know what that means.
I don't know the Pon farr. I know Spock. Yeah.
He was burning with this. Anyway, we won't talk about that part. But just a couple of points. So if Shannon had just said, "Oh, I really would like a Bentley," and then just went on about her way and didn't continue the thought, if you hadn't made the thing and made it so real and vivid, it might not have come, or you might not have gotten that one. It is persistence. So today happens to be, well, in old America, we used to call it National Cut Day when I was in high school, Ascension Thursday. We used to go to the diner and just skip school. I don't know, it's terrible. But I just read something today. If you will let me read one paragraph.
Please.
So Jesus said to his disciples, I'll skip, which of you shall have a friend and shall go to him at midnight and shall say to him, "Friend, lend me 3 loaves because a friend of mine has come off his journey to me and I have not what to set before him." And he from within, meaning the person whose door you're knocking at, should answer and say, "Trouble me not, the door is shut now, my children are with me in bed, I cannot rise and give thee." Yet, if he, the person knocking, shall continue knocking, I say to you, although he will not rise and give him because he is his friend, yet because of his importunity, he will rise and give him as many as he needeth. Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. He wants us to importune him. We have to persist in the thought. We have to continue. We can't just ask once and say, "Okay, ask, I'm grateful. Okay, I'm grateful now. I'll get it in 3 weeks." No. You have to constantly, because if you ask and then you stop, you're off the vibration. So you got to keep it alive. And I'm finding it very difficult because there's so many things that I've got to be, but I'm going to focus in. So you focused in on that car and you got that car. And we all, well, now I understand why. From the programming of the last 100 years, programming, we believe that we're as if we're prisoners in the movie of our lives. No. We're not the prisoner of Zenda. We are the script writers. And what we have to do is change the friggin' script and persist in it. And you can't help but be Cary Grant. He couldn't help it because he was working every day as Cary Grant. And he did, to a very great deal, become Cary Grant. I mean, I've read a lot about him, and I know he still had issues, whatever. But he did. And it made him feel good to make other people feel good. Just the women saying, "Oh, Mr. Grant," it made him feel good. And because he had very poor self-esteem. You wouldn't think that Archie Leach, who is Cary Grant had very high self-esteem. He carried himself, but Archie Leach had terrible self-esteem. His mother was taken away, put in a nut house. She wasn't even crazy. His father was big. Anyway,
Right.
all these things helped him achieve that vibration. So he got to go to work every day and make himself Cary Grant because he was not born that way. So that's what we have to do. We're the script writers, we're the directors, we're the actors and actors, and we're the people who dress the set, everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're not trapped in this. They tried to make us think we're trapped in this. I never seen the movie The Matrix, but I presume that's what we're all trapped in, the Matrix. But we got to get out, and the time is now. What better time is there than now? If you haven't done it yet, just start. If you fall off, get back up. Persistence, Calvin Coolidge, persistence. So thank you for the fire that you made me feel. I appreciate it very much. Sorry,
I appreciate you. Thank you, Missy. Thank you. And for anyone who's vague on the meaning of importunity, it means persistence, typically to the point of annoyance. So there's that. Who else? Who's annoying here? Adrian, please.
I'm going to be annoying as well, please, John. Yeah. A lot of fire around today. That's great. Great to hear Missy on fire, talking about vibrations as well. You raised so many topics there, John, which I'll touch on in a minute, but the whole concept of envisionment, seeing the possibility and believing it's that belief. You can't go into this on a half-baked, half-hearted basis. Have you ever tried to turn up at some kind of match where you don't really believe you can play well? You're going to get crushed because people talk themselves up, hype themselves up, get on the pitch and go for it. You have to be ready and really believe that you're going to give it your best. If you just don't really believe that from the start, it's halfway lost. So I think you're absolutely right. Missy's talked about that as well. To raise yourself to that level of vibration, as we call it. I know people don't like this term vibration because it smacks of spiritualism for some people and they don't agree with it, but it's just really raising your energy level and your brain waves to a level where you can perform at your best. And to do that, you've got to believe. You've got to believe what you're engaging in. And as Missy said, don't ever think you don't have a right to be there either. That's eroding that belief from the start. You can have this beautiful vision, but if you don't really believe you should be there, that vision will just crumble. Every single person has a right to be everywhere. Nobody has ownership of any area at all. It's all about whether we're prepared to pay the price and buy the ticket to be on that train. That is it. It's our choice. It's nobody else's choice. We have a right to be there, but we have to pay the price for the ticket. And that's the effort, the discipline. And going back to some of the earlier things you said, it is about taking action. It's the discipline of acting on it. Take on all these wonderful ideas you talked about at the beginning. Take the ideas on. We've got to act on them. That means paying the price, buying the ticket, and buying our entry right. So we've got a right to be there if we're prepared to pay the price. And that's just effort. So nobody's excluded from anything at all. There's always a way of getting into an area. And I think this is a big problem for people. I think so many people I see don't have that confidence that they should be able to get there or could get there or have a right to get there. And this whole imposter syndrome we've talked about so many times is a big enemy. Nobody should ever feel an imposter. We're only an imposter if we're not trying. If we're trying and putting our best into it, we're not an imposter. We've got just as much right to be in the game as anybody else. So you've got to believe that when you raise your vibration level and say, here I go, I'm starting the match, you've actually got to believe it and feel that you have a right to be there, because otherwise it just doesn't really work. You don't have that confidence energy level to push things through. You tend to stop at the first obstacle and say, this is too difficult, or maybe I shouldn't have been here in the first place. It's not going to be easy. We've got to pay the price. And the books talk about paying the price. You talked about the swagger mindset, showing up as that. Yeah, you have to portray confidence as well. I'm sure we've all seen situations where we've become aware that the person in front of us is not confident, is worried, perhaps nervous, perhaps shy, and we can detect that immediately. You can detect these things, and then you get a different result from some people. So if you're lucky, you're in front of a person that's going to overcome that nervousness for you and encourage you. But I'm afraid not everyone's that benign and that kind. So we can't show that we feel we're an imposter, shy, reserved, nervous. We can't show that. That's a big part of the battle. Going in there, feeling you've got a right to be there, and showing that, and talking as if you do belong there is crucial. So your whole discussion about swagger mindset, I think that's very, very, very important. I really do. Dressing for it, behaving as if you have a right to be there, dressing as if you want to be there, making the effort, paying the price again in that way. And you feel better to start with. If you've gone in with that mindset, you've prepared properly, you feel better to start with. You feel as though you should be there. If you feel as though you shouldn't be there and you've started on the wrong foot, you didn't quite prepare properly, you're feeling nervous, it's probably going to show through, and you'll get a different result, different outcome. Yeah, low self-esteem you talked about, absolutely. You can't go around with low self-esteem. You've got to believe you have a right. That's what it's all about. And the escape hatch reference you made, don't give yourself an escape hatch. I talked about that before as well. You have to create what I've described as artificial adrenaline. You can only do that by giving yourself no escape hatch in your mind, saying, I'm really going to go for this. I'm not giving myself an easy out. There is the deadline. I'm going to do it by then. You've got to artificially pressure yourself to want a result, whether it's, let's go back to the sports analogies. You've got to say, I want to get so many points or win this match. And you can count the points. You know what the point system is. It's easy to track it. It's not so easy in life to track it. You can set deadlines. You can set objectives for the day. You can set mini goals. Say, I'm not letting myself off until I've achieved them. That's the artificial adrenaline that it takes to deal with that escape hatch mentality you talked about. So a lot of things, John. There's so many more, but you raised a lot of very, very useful and valuable thoughts, I think, that we've got to take seriously.
Sure. And Adrian, as you and I have talked about, one-on-one, this whole conversation of success and the application of principles into common life, I think if everybody who needed to be in this conversation was in it, well, there's no internet platform big enough to hold it, right? So, I mean, that's what I think anyway.
I agree,
for whatever that's worth.
I agree. And look, we're seeing real examples at the moment. We won't talk about conflicts, etc. today, but look what happens when somebody's whole livelihood in their town is threatened, what they're capable of doing to defend it. When the chips are really down, we can do great things. And as you said, when you put yourself in a situation where you've got to perform, you do. You can lift your game. We always do. We always find a way. So that's all. We carry that around with us every day. It's just deploying it and saying, I know I'm capable. It's in the reservoir. Let's just deploy it.
Right. And it feels good to do that. I mean, regardless of if you've gotten, the ultimate outcome yet or not, just the fact that you took high integrity action and that you performed, that you did it, you did what you said you were going to do. That's validation right there. And that's something you could fall in love with for yourself is the fact that you're an on-purpose person.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. And I was, you just reminded me of the fact that a lot of people live kind of voyeuristically, looking at other high performers or other people who have really, cowboyed up and gotten it done. Right. So I'm going to go get inspired by that. And I'm going to, I guess, pretend that, I could be strong like that person. Again, living a lie that's not the answer that we're looking for. Right. Yeah. Go get inspired. Okay. But I see it all the time with, in the firearms and tactical world. Right. There's people who we call mall ninjas. Right. And they got, lots of guns and whatever, no training. But yeah, they saw the Navy SEAL guy, and so they're like, they're going to be a Navy SEAL too or something. No, you're not. You're not. Right. Now you do, you do what that, what that person has done. And it doesn't have to be, in the field of battle. Okay. But you have that mindset, that attitude, that tenacity to then go after your goals in life, just like the Navy SEAL guy or whatever went after, winning the battle. Well, now you've got a peer. And I'd much rather, perceive high achieving people as peers rather than like some celebrity or something. What? I mean, that's not accessible, right? If there's this imaginary line of demarcation between, special people and then, us commoners over here. No, don't be a commoner, right? So step up and then you'll be their peer. And then other people can look at you and say, you're special and you're a celebrity. Ah, my goodness, right? That's why I wrote my first book. People kept saying, oh, your secrets are, in like some pedestal. I'm like, look, here it is. I just did it. It's the same data, guys. It's the same book. It's the same, instructions. I just did it.
And the flip side of that, John, is as we've talked about before, equally, you don't want to be the best person in the room. You're in the wrong room. And that's the other side of it. So yeah, having the right peers is crucial. Don't just go put yourself in the easiest room and feel great because you're the best in that room. Look around the room and say, am I in the right room?
There you go.
You have to put yourself under pressure and have an ambition to improve every day and not just stay in the same room for the rest of your life. Yeah. So peers are important, providing they're the right ones. I agree.
It's beautiful. Well, you know what? This weekend, I'm going to be putting myself in an environment with some people who are doing spectacularly well in the online course creation and publishing space. And I'm going to be all ears. I am not going to be the smartest guy in that room, at least as it relates to that topic. So, yeah. Wow, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Any other thoughts today on prosperity as a way of life?
I love how you said any half an idiot can be critical.
Yeah,
and that's true. But that can mess with your, your posture. It's like just throw them out of your vision, and know that maybe they're half an idiot. Maybe they're not. I don't know. But no, that's everything. This was a really great topic. Well, I mean,
not just an idiot; they're half an idiot. All right, so there's a distinction there. You know where I got that from?
No,
I got that from Joe Pesci. It was the movie Easy Money with Rodney Dangerfield, Joe Pesci, where he was going to inherit all this money, and anyway, it was a hilarious movie. But at one point, Joe Pesci said to some guy, "Get out of here before I give you a slap, you half a sissy." I was like, half a sissy? What is that?
That's right. I like that. I do half an idiot, half a sissy. That's funny because it makes you it boils it down for me because people are really critical and they can make you feel like, okay, they look at you like you've got three heads. Okay, I'm cool with that. But in the back of your mind, it still can, wane on you. So just think any half an idiot can be critical, and that just lets it go.
That's it. Lindsay got the answer she was looking for right there. Yeah. There it is. Fantastic.
You've always got to say as well, John, I mean, why is their opinion more important than yours? Yeah, listen to information and learn, but why is somebody else's opinion more important than your own? You've always got to weigh that up. Why have they got a right to have that opinion and outweigh yours?
I totally agree. Yeah. Good question. I like that.
Well, we're kind of into another topic, which is, the invalidation that we can experience from others. But when we really look at it, can they really make you feel a certain way? That's, you made me? Did you make me?
Yeah, they can, John. They can. And we talked about that before in one of your sessions, but that can only happen if you allow it to. If you accept those words, take them on board and give them value, then they have value. Mm-hmm. But if you don't do that, they have none. They cannot affect you unless you choose to allow them to change your own mindset and your own feelings. It's a choice.
Sure. And that is a pill for people to swallow sometimes, is like, hey, you participated. You have some responsibility in that. So anyway, interesting conversation today, guys. Wow. Lindsay, you good? All right. Everybody else good? Any other thoughts? No? Okay, then let's go ahead and wrap up with that. This weekend, we've got some stuff going on that I'm going to be hopefully releasing on Monday. But in the meantime, I'll see you back here tomorrow for a general session. For our new members, everything is archived, right, in the members site. So when you log in, you can get endless archives of every kind of topic you can imagine. It's really awesome. So welcome. Glad you're here. All right, we'll wrap up with that.